It's time to talk press conferences. Kyle Shanahan. Apple Watch telling me to breathe. Kyle Shanahan has finally had a press conference this week. Took place yesterday, recording this Thursday. And so, a lot of conversation about Deforest Buckner. Rightfully so. Playing the Colts. Deforest Buckner is finally coming back to Levi's to face his former team. And so, you already know where the headlines were going. In my honest opinion, the Buckner trade, we could look at it as one of the worst, if not the worst, trade the 49ers made. Just because it sucks, the fact that DeForest Buckner did everything right for this team. On and off the field, carried himself well, no issues, high character guy, leader, and that's just tipping the iceberg. I mean, football player, outstanding, and still playing at a very high level. Pro Bowl, still a Pro Bowler, and one of the top Colts players right now, and could be the top 49ers player right now. And so far, the trade hasn't worked for towards the 49ers' favor. Eric Armstead is great, but Kinlaw can't stay on the field. And I'd rather have Buckner than those two right now. That's the God honest truth. But let's go ahead and listen to what Coach has to say about this. What does the coach have to say? What is his thoughts? Let's just listen to the press conference, see what he has to say there.
Kinlaw, not going, knee. Marcel, he's still on his way back from the doctor.
Already off to a bad start. Kinlaw not going. I don't think he's practiced all week. Knee tendonitis sucks. And we'll talk about Kinlaw a little bit more here.
I think he'll be out of practice, but we're not sure yet. Trent Williams has ankle and elbow. He'll not practice.
We may not have a starting left tackle on Sunday night. Opens an opportunity for the rookie Jalen Moore. I think it's Jalen Moore. This is the Kinlaw thing I'm talking about. But again, this is a high-paying tackle, and doesn't seem like it's going to be a huge issue. It just sucks. We just can't get in the groove.
Trey Lance has knee and will not practice. What?
That Marcel will practice?
Not sure yet. He's still at the doctor getting his cast and everything, and when he gets back out, then it's been a couple.
What kind of 49ers work did you do? What kind of assignments?
Or short yardage, goal line.
We talk Buckner.
And anything about Trey's knee? Has it gotten?
No, he works
At right guard, how secure is
secure in terms of, I believe, Dan, we can win with. So it's not that we're sitting here trying to replace him or anything. And I hope continues.
Compton, the next guy, logically in line?
Good guy to have up.
Particularly the back end last year. I assume that's why he's played 23 snaps in the last 2 games.
With it, he's been there in mainly passing situations and stuff like.
We'll get there, but part of the thing I'd really want the Niners to do is, on offense, just start moving the football, picking up first downs. It's easier said than done, but can we just get in a groove for just one game? Just like have it all come together for just one game.
Like
Maybe.
That, and so that's not always dictated.
In that role, someone else on that other edge.
Should have probably had this ready to go.
For us today on the phone, just kind of revisiting last year's trade, and he said that he offered to meet you guys in the middle contract negotiation. Can you, I guess, revisit briefly how candid you got with him in terms of where you thought he fit with this team, and then just how his absence has affected the locker room and the on-field product?
Yeah, I mean, I miss Buck a lot, knew we would. That was a very tough decision, not one that we wanted to do. One that going through all the situations.
I'm sure they'll admit right now that they made the wrong decision. Like, closed doors, off the record. I'm sure they know that this was a mistake. A coach won't just flat out say, what was his exact wording?
His absence has affected.
That was a very tough decision, not one that we wanted to do. One that going through all the situations. That was a very tough decision, not one. Yeah, I mean, I miss Buck a lot, knew we would.
I miss Buck a lot. It seems like they went through every decision, but ultimately they got burned. This one stings, man. This one sucks. There's just no other way to look at it. I think if you're just honest with yourself, a true honest fan, you have to admit that this was a mistake. Letting Buck go, I don't care about the salary cap. Look, other teams, for some reason, are able to make it work. Here, just ship out one of our top players, our top 3 players at that time, to another team because we couldn't afford them. Come on, man.
That was a very tough decision, not one that we wanted to do. One that going through all the situations, looking at the money, the contract, the salary cap that year. We just came off a big season with how well our defense played, and we had a number of guys that we thought that were up that year as unrestricted free
My dog's just going wild right now.
agents. They weren't 2 years
They
away.
agree with me.
We also knew we had guys
The
in the future we had
Buckner
to
trade
pay.
was a
So
bad one.
wanted to keep Buck bad. But we had to look at all that stuff and that went into it. And, there's lots of things that go into it, but, it wasn't something we were high-fiving or anything over after it happened. It came down to, do you want to pay this amount of money to one guy, or do you want to keep 2 of the guys you already have that you will lose and plus add a 13th pick in the draft?
Let me tell you, that 13th pick hasn't worked out. Kinlaw can't stay on the field. It's not that he's not a good football player, of course. I think we would have great value right now if we can have Kinlaw playing, generating more pressure, giving Bosa a chance on the edge, and he'll get more sacks. It's like clockwork, right? This literally is a team. But the reality is Kinlaw can stay on the field. And right now, that 13th pick, along with other picks, Brandon Ayuk, we mentioned that. We talked about that in the previous video. And we're seeing picks now, this year, that are not even playing. I mean, we're going to be looking at an article that states, like, Tom Compton is ahead of Aaron Banks in the depth chart, in the unofficial depth chart. Banks is third at guard. Behind, let me tell you guys, nothing like, wow. Daniel Brunskill, Tom Compton. Brunskill, okay, I'll give you that. Maybe. You're a third-round pick. No, second-round pick. I'm sorry, Aaron Banks. It's the Tom Compton for me. The hell are we doing? What the hell did I just do?
Here's a question. Whoa!
How we got this? Anyways, I'm not gonna let that run. But I mean, that's just what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy who was a Pro Bowler, All Pro, did everything right, and got shipped out. But it seems like we're rewarding the wrong people. Definitely a learning experience. And I think the first step is admitting that you were wrong. Like, oh, damn, I traded one of our best players, and the 2 pieces that were supposed to replace him, number one, Eric Armstead has been playing fantastic. I don't think this is a shot at Eric Armstead. He's just associated with this group of guys because he was a part of the deal, right? They've admitted. We had to trade Buckner to keep Armstead and get a 13th overall pick, which they ended up getting Kinlaw. And with Kinlaw and Armstead, those two will always be associated with Buckner.
It's very early in his career. Where do you view his development? And with his knee issue, is that it's a chronic thing?
Well, yeah, it's a big concern this year, and it's nothing against him, but it's been unfortunate with him. So his development right now is on hold.
I think this was a question about
Tim,
Kinlaw.
It's in his career. Where do you a top level starter? Obviously, it's very early in his career. Where do you view his development? And with his knee issue, is that it's a chronic thing?
Well, yeah, it's a big concern this year, and it's nothing against him, but it's been unfortunate with him. So his development right now is on hold. I was real excited with how he started to end last year. Those last few games, especially.
I think they're talking about Kinlaw here. They have to. So, Jack Hammer on Twitter posted this picture. This isn't a recent picture of Kinlaw. This was a picture or a story that he posted in training camp. "I have no injury," is his quote. And of course, if you want to get technical with it, a knee tendonitis isn't really an injury, more of a condition. But the reality is he can't stay on the field, which is the situation here. Obviously, this isn't anything against Kinlaw, but this is why things are being kind of called out. Everything's being layered, looked through, specifically because of the Buckner situation. Again, I think it's the worst trade that John Lynch and company has done. Remove the Solomon Thomas picks, remove the Reuben Foster picks. I think that really this one right here is the one that broke the camel's back for people. And the whole thing was like, all right, this better work. And so far it hasn't. And now they're aggressive again this past off season. And again, it's the same thing. Like Trey Lance, it must work, right? Or else. But we're seeing it with the mid-round picks. Aaron Banks, Ambry Thomas, Trey Sermon. They're not even sniffing the field, some of these guys. So that's where the frustration level is coming. It's like we've whiffed in so many. And sure, we've gotten some solid picks. George Kittle, Fred Warner, just to name a few that have been all-pro, right? Been all-pro at their positions. But what he's talking about having a deep roster, well, so far the 49ers seems like they have the weakest roster in the NFC West. Ones that can't stay on the field. And you have to count those. You have to count those because you're banking on these guys when you pick them that they're going to contribute. So far, Kinlaw hasn't been in a rhythm yet. And you can't say the same with Deforest Buckner, who's proven not injury prone, always there and generating sacks, generating pressure, great in the run. And so that kind of sucks. Cam Inman tweeted this earlier this week. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. DeForest Buckner, 17 months after 49ers stunning trade to Colts, isn't sure what emotions he'll experience in Levi's Stadium return Sunday night. Is definitely weird being on the other side. Buckner, of course, got paid handsomely by Colts. Yes, he did. Something 49ers Kyle Shanahan refused to do. It really did teach me a lot about the business side of things. I thought I did the right things on and off the field. Wanted to be there long term. That's kind of what hurts, right? It's like the player trying to do everything he can to stay not only with that team, but be rewarded. And Buckner, along with Armstead, they were through some really tough stretches there where, the coaching staff and front offices were just shuffling through. And ultimately, he was one of the guys I thought, like, okay, he's going to be here for a while, right? And then 49ers got Kyle Shanahan, and they ended up bringing some really cool pieces at that time. Our roster was trash, but it was Buckner who was the leader, the front runner in all of this. It's Joe Staley in all of this. And so you think like, okay, those guys will be rewarded no matter what happens, right? We'll know we have those guys on our roster. And so it kind of, it was bummy, and it came as a surprise to everybody, the whole fan base. There was never like these I guess rumors that circled around during that season, during that Super Bowl run, where you're like, they won't be able to pay Buckner. We all thought this would happen eventually. Turns out that wasn't the case, and you know, if a player's willing to work with you, meet you in the middle, whatever that would be, I'm sure it would be less than what the Colts offered. The Colts offered top money, in my opinion. I'm sure the 49ers could have worked something out. And I'm sure if you asked John Lynch, would he do this again? I think he would. I honestly think he would. And if he wouldn't, I think he's just a bozo. Like, do you not learn from your experiences? So I just hope that, I mean, it's a huge price to pay for a learning experience, but honestly, I can only hope that that this front office, that this coaching staff has learned from their experiences. And so that's our only hope, because guess what? So far, they're not going nowhere. Now, that's picking up steam as the weeks go by, as we pile more losses. But so far, I just have to believe that John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan can get it together. This is the article I was mentioning. First of all, got to make sure there's no audio here. SB Nation, this is by Mark DeLucci. Shout out to Mark. Kyle Shanahan says veteran offensive lineman Tom Compton is ahead of rookie Aaron Banks. Yeah. That's what Kyle Shanahan says. And I don't want to hear like, oh, well, if Aaron Banks isn't ready, he isn't ready. Well, let me tell you something. Do you not know how the NFL works? The NFL works like this. If you draft a player in the first, second rounds, you are most likely expecting that player to start. That is the reality of it. Players should be starting, or at the very least, second string if he's drafted first and in the first and second rounds. Now, if he's third string, then I would hope that you are drafting him in the later third, fourth, fifth rounds. That is my hope. But the truth is, you didn't get good value, or maybe you whiffed on this pick if he's not ready to at least back up your starting guard, Daniel Brunskill. And so this is what I'm like, okay, what are we supposed to think as fans? That either you suck at drafting, or you can't develop these guys fast enough to play for you, start for you in the first year. We don't have room to redshirt people. This is a what have you done for me lately business. If you redshirt people like Trent Baalke was doing with all these ACL picks at that time, it's going to come back to haunt you. And I hope that that's not what's happening here with not only Aaron Banks, Ambry Thomas, Trey Sermon, Brandon Ayuk. Who else am I missing? Let's read. The 49ers have failed to get consistent production from their highest drafted rookie so far this season. That's putting it lightly. Despite drafting offensive guard Aaron Banks in the second round of this year's draft, the Niners have kept him off the active roster as a healthy scratch in all of the team's 5 games this season. That also true. He's not even suiting up, people. He's just not even suiting up. He's healthy. He can't even help you anywhere. He's not ready. What does that mean? You're being redshirted? For what? For when? For why? All right. Laken Tomlinson and Daniel Brunskill returned to the team this season, but given Banks' draft stock, he was expected to challenge Brunskill. That's what we all thought. That's why we got the second rounder. We're like, all right, beefing up that offensive line for Trey Lance to run up the middle, run power. I'm ready. It's been anything but. Instead, Banks has been absent from the team's active game day roster despite Brunskill's struggle. That is another good point. It's like Brunskill is not like fantastic where he's just like, oh man, he's running away with that starting position. He got it by default, man. The other guys aren't stepping up. They're not pressuring him. There's no competition here. Brunskill, if Aaron Banks can't even make his second string, I got to think he's terrible. How bad is he that he can't even back up Brunskill? Tom Compton is in front of you, guy. Tom Compton. Niners Nation, Akash, shout out to Akash, has pointed out the 49ers should emphasize Banks' development at this point in the season, giving him an ample opportunity to supplement Brunskill at right guard. Sorry, I can't read. However, in Kyle Shanahan's press availability on Wednesday, the 49ers head coach suggested no such move is on the horizon. Of course not. So this is what he said. Yeah, he's secure in terms of, I believe, Dan, we can win with. So it's not that we're sitting here and trying to replace him or anything, but I always want guys pushing him. And we obviously invested in some guys in the draft. And we have other guys here, some vets. I think all those guys are pushing him each week and looking better with the reps have. And that's something I hope continues. Just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But the reality is we can't get production from these draft picks, man. The last 2 years have really stunk in terms of rookie production. So, I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. It's not going to stay the same. We either get better or we get worse. Right now, we've gone worse. 2 years in a row. We could turn it around, but we have to do it quickly, man. People are getting so impatient, including me. That's it. Now, obviously, if I feel like we were getting beat by a better team on Sundays, we were maybe here and there, like we had an identity, but we just got beat by a better team. I can live with that, but right now, I don't know what the identity of this football team is other than players are hurt. Number 2, just can't win, man. Just can't win. I don't even know what to say no more. But the 49ers were fielding calls for a running back. Colts running back at that. Marlon Mack. I'm told the Chiefs, Panthers, 49ers, and the Saints are among teams that made preliminary inquiries for Colts running back Marlon Mack. That's interesting. Interesting because you drafted Trey Sermon. So, yeah, just another laugher. I was going to go through with the D'Amico. I guess we can listen to it a little bit, see if there's any substance here.
I just keep talking about it, keep putting emphasis on it. That's not going to change every week, every day. Our emphasis on the ball just has to happen. And I feel like, it just takes one game when it turns your way. It just takes one game, and we need that, very soon for our guys. But guys have been working hard at it in practice, emphasizing it in practice, getting it done in practice, getting the ball out in practice. Now,
talking about the turnovers here. My dogs are it's raining today. They're really not liking it. I have this one right here. I have this one. This one right here. What's up, girl? She wants to say hi. We do need to have some turnovers here, man. Our turnover differential is probably trash. But we need to force the ball, man. Force the ball out. That could be an identity. Like, there's this defense that generates pressures, forces turnovers. But they're not even that. They're not even that, man. What
just
are we
need
good
to
at?
keep doing what they've been doing with the mindset of the ball, and then it'll come our way soon.
Hopefully.
Potential rain game as a way of kind of starting that, turning the tide on that, so to speak.
Whatever it takes. If it takes the rain for us to get the ball, whatever it takes, I'll be fired up, But everybody's been talking about the rain and everything. It's one of those things that if it happens, it happens. But, of course, the ball becomes a more of an issue in the rain when it comes to handling it from the offensive perspective.
It's going to rain this Sunday, I think. A rare rain game in Santa Clara. I think that could be a good sign if we can force the turnovers there. I think we have to dominate this Colts team, man. This Colts team isn't really good. I believe they're 1-5, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, they won last week, so they're 2-4, right? 2-4, but that's not a team that just wows you on tape. They have some good players. They have a couple of playmakers, offensively and defensively. So it's not like they can stink up the joint. But the reality is, if you look at it, you're looking at two teams that are desperate for a win. Because whoever loses, their season is pretty much over. Wrap it up. Book your Cancun flights or your Cabo flights after that game, because it's going to be a long year, folks. You might get a discount at this point in time of the year. Flights and hotel rates could be down right now if you're booking for after the season, which is early January. So I'm sure every player is calling up their travel agent and be like, hey, yeah, we just lost, so I'm gonna need, a whole week in Cabo. What you got for me? Oh, damn, that's hella cheap. Hell yeah, hook me up. I'm booked. Boom. But the 49ers have to have this win, right? I mean, everything points to their favor. It's going to be this muddy, slow game. And I think it's just hand the ball off like 50 times. I don't care. Elijah Mitchell gets to work. I think we may have Hasty back here. Trey Sermon. Here we go. Kyle Juszczyk. Here we go. Too bad we don't have Trey Lance. I mean, I thought this would have been a perfect game to have Trey Lance in. Just have them hand off like 50 times, get him some reps. It would have been perfect because nobody would question, like, why you didn't throw much. It'd be like, well, it was wet, and plus he's a rookie. It'll all make sense, but too bad. But defensively, I mean, we're good for the trenches. I mean, we have a good defensive lineman, good linebackers that can flow for the football. I doubt that there's going to be a lot of passing in this one, and if there is, then good opportunity for some turnovers.
The ball carries, it's more contest, and the ball does get loose more in the rain. So, rain or no rain, though, we got to get it out. But the rain may help us a little bit.
There you go.
When he started here, a lot was put on his plate, and then the next season, things were kind of taken off of his plate so he could play faster. He kind of thrived in that. I think more things are his responsibility now. Where do you see his role? I mean, how would you define it in comparison to the previous seasons?
Yeah, I think Fred's role, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed much. He still has the same amount of responsibility that he's always had when it comes to just being that quarterback of the defense, just getting the calls, getting our guys set and lined up. That hasn't changed. And Fred's one thing that
I think that's
been great about Fred is he's a great communicator, and he does a really great job of communicating. But he has the same. He can get it. He can get that done, the communication part of it, and he can go play at a high level. So I don't see anything where
Let's see what Pete has to
We've
say.
had about a month of sour taste in our mouth, so we're all pretty eager to get on the field and play our way through this. And I desperately wish you.
I kind of want to know what's his actual role as an offensive coordinator, because we all know Kyle calls the plays. Is he in charge of actually putting the game plan together? Because if he is, how about we help him out a little bit? How about maybe let's be honest, maybe it's Mike why we're having issues with the offense. Can't get in a rhythm. It could be, it's possible, but I just don't know what's his actual role. What's his duties when it comes to the offense? Because we all look at Kyle because he's the head coach and he's this offensive minded. So you would think that maybe he's just the assistant still, but they just labeled him the offensive coordinator. But I'd like to know exactly before I, give him that criticism, I guess you can say. But I mean, you can honestly say Mike McDaniel need to step up a little bit because you're still the offensive coordinator. Offense can't really get into a rhythm, can't really put drives together, put first downs together. So, yeah.
You guys would have told me it's Sunday afternoon right now, because it seems like a long time, but it'll be here shortly. What you guys got?
In terms of third down, we always hear that it's hard for a rookie to learn to become a good player on third downs. What is it exactly that makes that role so hard for rookies to attain?
Well, it's the hardest part of football because the simplest way I can put it is there's less stress on the defense because you're pretty much exclusive, barring a do at tighter coverage. So, but situation, so things, the whoever's on first and second or play action or whatever.
Progress that they're making.
Definitely.
As far as that role.
Definitely. There's all of our rookies that are playing offensively right now are much better than when we started, and they have that's there's repeat mistakes.
All I hear
guys
is a whole lot of nothing. But I will say, Mike McDaniel, you got to step it up. I just checked the Dodgers score. They're up now 4-2 tonight. So I was hoping that the Braves could maybe pull this off in Chavis Ravine to try to celebrate of clinching and getting into the World Series. But it's looking a little hairy right now. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. I want to thank everyone for watching. And I appreciate everyone commenting, leaving some good comments, some good feedback. I love the interaction. So please, I definitely encourage those who maybe disagree with what I say, go ahead and leave in the comment section below. I'll get to you when I can, if I can. I'm a busy man. But anyways, thank you all for watching my video. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.